do want to let everybody know that there's going to be a lot of information in this webinar. You might feel a little bit overwhelmed, but we are going to be recording this. So we're going to send you a replay of all of this. So if you miss any information, don't worry. We're going to send it out to you after, so you can review it at your own leisure. We'll also be sharing how you'll be able to get in contact with AlgaeCal at the end of the presentation as well for any AlgaeCal directed questions specific for them. So we'll be sharing that. So what I want to do next is pass off the first part of our webinar here to Monica and Phil from AlgaeCal, and they're going to be giving you all the information about AlgaeCal, educating you, and teaching you more about the supplement. And after that, I'll jump back on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heather. I will just go ahead and share my screen. So today you have from AlgaeCal, myself and Phil Capilano on the call. We're going to go through this here. Can everyone see that first off? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to do some quick intros and then we'll get right into it. Phil, maybe you can start us off here. Oh, go on mute, Phil.
How's that?
Perfect.
Thanks, Bonnie. So my name is Phil and I'm with AlgaeCal's Healthcare Practitioner Division. I've been with the company for about 2 years, but have been in the natural products industry, or functional medicine industry as it's better known, for over 20 years already. And so I'm really glad to be part of this presentation today. We had the privilege of joining the OsteoStrong group last year, and it was just an overall incredible experience. Learned so much about your technology and how it's helping individuals increase their bone mineral density. And we're super excited for the partnership that we formed with OsteoStrong, because we believe that we can help patients improve their bone mineral density, which is something that is obviously very prevalent in our society. So we're really looking forward to share the information, particularly the results of our 3 published studies on our slide deck today, and how it can obviously help your patients even more. So thank you.
All right, thank you. My name is Monica. Everyone calls me Moni, as Phil said there. I've been with AlgaeCal for heading into 10 years now. Exclusively kind of worked on the marketing and partnerships and now overseeing the OsteoStrong partnership. So been in health and wellness for over a decade, and really excited about this partnership and what we're about to share today, as really this is our first foray into retail. And so partnering with OsteoStrong just made so much sense, and we'll talk about the synergy as we go along. All right, so AlgaeCal is unique in the sense that we've only really focused on bone health since inception. We've been around since 2002, so 20 years, and we like to say that we're the global leaders in all things bone health. Not only do we have our product line that we'll get into in a little bit, but we do have the studies, and we also have an online community and content that we create, and everything we do focuses on bone health and bone loss and how we can get you back to normal bone density and then increase that bone density. And so for us, calcium has really been studied for over 100 years. And up until the last decade or so with our studies, calcium has only really been able to slow down bone loss. We've seen that in research time and time again. But with AlgaeCal and 3 of our human clinical studies, we've shown that we can actually get you back to normal bone density and then increase it. So it's really special, near and dear to our heart. Phil will kind of get back into and talk about the studies a little later on. But our 3 kind of pillars here at AlgaeCal are that we're natural. So in comparison to other traditional calcium supplements, we're coming from a whole food. We have the 3 human clinical studies, and then we also offer a guarantee, which we'll get into as well. And so over that time, over the 20 years, we've served over 100,000 customers. At any given time right now, currently, we have about 85,000 active bone builders on our program. And so we're really reaching more and more people as we go along here, but especially with the OsteoStrong partnership, we're so excited because, again, we focus on bone health, and so does OsteoStrong with Spectrum and the patented machines. And so the synergy in terms of AlgaeCal AlgaeCal provides the nutritional component to bone building, and OsteoStrong is that physical, that triggering of osteogenic loading. And so together, we really should be seeing these compounded results and the increases in bone density, because you're not just getting the one piece of the bone health puzzle anymore, you're getting those multiple. In addition to, we like to encourage, like sleep hygiene and walking and everything else that is really important to overall lifestyle and bone health. And so here we just have a few pictures of other partners we've worked with. I really like to call out Paula Abdul on the bottom left there. We actually worked with her in the last year or two. Paula and her team approached us. She's been using AlgaeCal for over 8, 9, getting close to 9 years. And so that was really cool for us to experience her approaching us and being like, I have AlgaeCal in my cabinet. I've been using it for years and years and years. It's kept me active. It's kept me strong. I can still dance. And so that one is really has been exciting for us, and that we're seeing more and more people kind of discover AlgaeCal in the brand. And through OsteoStrong, we want to continue doing that. So, all right. Phil, I'm going to pass it along to you. Phil's going to talk about really the main component of AlgaeCal and the whole food product that makes us different.
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie. So again, AlgaeCal Plus right now is currently the only supplement in the industry that is proven to not only stop bone mineral density or bone loss, and reverse it to a positive trend. That is a pretty powerful statement, but you'll see as we go through the slides that we were able to demonstrate that in 3 published studies. So particularly, what do you find in our product? Well, this is first and foremost an ocean algae. It comes from the waters of South America. And you can see the red algae pod that's just sitting on that plate. That's essentially what the algae looks like. So it literally looks like a little mini kiwi-sized algae pod. It is plant-based, and it has, in addition to calcium, it has over 13 bone supporting minerals. It has trace minerals. So it really is a very unique plant because it actually mimics a lot of what's found naturally occurring in our bones. And we believe that's probably why the product is so effective at helping individuals increase their bone mineral density. Next slide, please. Alrighty, so particularly what makes the AlgaeCal product very different or very unique is that it is supported in 3 human clinical studies. It has 13 minerals and 3 vitamins. It features the red algae, which is known as Lithothamnium superpositum. That is a very important thing for you to all know, because there are different algae products on the market, but the one that has been studied is the Lithothamnium superpositum, which is exclusive to AlgaeCal. And then we have the scan-to-scan improvement, which we'll talk about a little bit later, demonstrating a guarantee as well in just 6 months, which is our shortest study. If you contrast it with our traditional calcium supplements, at the best, traditional calcium supplements, you'll see when we go over the studies, can only slow bone loss. There's only 1 to 3 different nutrients. It's predominantly made from crushed rocks, so particularly limestone, and there's no guarantee on the product.
All right, and so we're going to get into the product range here and the products that you can buy at your Austin location. But here we have everything set out. So the Bone Builder Pack, that's what we call it. That's our bread and butter. That's the AlgaeCal Plus and Strontium Boost. And so AlgaeCal Plus, as Phil spoke to already, that has the calcium and magnesium, the vitamin C, D3, K2, and boron, in addition to a bunch of trace minerals. And we'll get into each product a little bit more in depth here. And then we also have the Strontium Boost, which is our natural strontium citrate product. And together, that's what we guarantee will increase your bone density in as little as 6 months. In addition, we have our triple power omega-3 fish oil. Fish oil, one of the main causes of bone loss is inflammation. And so fish oil kind of combats that inflammation and cools that inflammation with the EPA and DHA. And then we add 2 other really potent antioxidants that we'll get into. And then we have the book. So Healthy Bones, Healthy You. Laura Pizzorno has been a part of us, the AlgaeCal team and the board for quite some time. She actually found us when she was struggling with severe bone loss in her early 40s, which is quite young. And she ended up taking AlgaeCal, increasing her bone density, and she now has normal bone density as a 74-year-old. And so she's been studying bone health. That's her expertise for over 30+ plus years. And this book is a fantastic resource for any and all things bone health. And it's something that we use for consumers and members and customers, but also when we're working with doctors as well. The research in there is absolutely sound. I think there's over 500 plus study resources in this book. And so almost any question you have, it's probably in this book. Right. So I'm going to discuss AlgaeCal Plus here, and then Phil's going to take home the other products. But AlgaeCal Plus, as Phil described, it's our flagship product. It's the only calcium clinically supported to increase bone density. It is coming from that kiwi-shaped ball that you see the picture of there. So it is plant-based. And so when we're talking about traditional calcium supplements that are mined from like limestone and rocks, it's gentler on the digestion, and in terms of the absorption as well, that's really going to help you out. We have the 13 essential minerals and added vitamins, vitamins like vitamin C, D3, and K2 in particular. D3, which will help the calcium absorb, and then K2. So in the early or late 90s, early 2000s, even now, you're seeing studies talking about, arterial calcification, heart attack risk with calcium supplements. And so one of the things I wanted to point out here today is a lot of those are high amounts of calcium and maybe just vitamin D or one other vitamin, but K2 is really crucial. It has many benefits, but one of its main ones is to actually direct calcium straight to your bones, and it keeps it out of soft tissues like arteries in your heart and kidney stones, things like that as well. So K2, we put clinical doses of that in there, and that's a key ingredient for us. No side effects. We've studied it across 6 months, 12 months, and all the way up to 7 years, with safety and toxicology studies attached to that. And so when we're talking about something gentle on your body and long-term, there's really the safety and efficacy there as well. Sustainably hand harvested, we're coming from the sea, but we never actually go into the sea. We never dredge, we never harm the environment. And so it washes up on shore, and we're sustainably hand harvesting that kiwi-sized ball. The actual raw powder itself is USDA certified organic. So super clean, we have that certification, and then we're adding those clinical doses of vitamins and boron as well. And so that's AlgaeCal Plus.
Hey, Moni, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, please.
If you go back one slide, I think what's really, really important is that all the people that are coming to OsteoStrong, what they're doing is that they're triggering growth, right? They're triggering the bone remodeling process. And why this partnership is so critically important is that if you trigger that growth and you don't have the building blocks in your body, then it's just going to be that much harder to improve bone density. So while we see improvements in tons of our members, we're just seeing, we have a couple of members that have just seen incredible results with doing the combination. And I think it's because of all of these little pieces. I just wanted to just drive that point home. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deepak. All right. So we'll scan through this quickly, but again, it's just more of a reiteration. If you're looking at the bottle, it's 4 capsules a day. So 2 with lunch or breakfast, 2 with dinner, but really we recommend AlgaeCal with a meal. The capsules, depending on how you like to take your supplements, the good news is it's not a tablet form. It's in a veggie cellulose kind of capsule. And so you can take that apart as well. Some people like to do that, mix it into like an applesauce or yogurt, depending whether or not you like to take capsules. But 2 with a meal, breakfast or dinner or lunch. And then again, the bone supporting minerals there. And then strontium boost. Phil, I'm going to pass this one off to you.
Right on. Okay, so strontium is the other, part of the bone building puzzle, and it is one of those nutrients that is probably not as well known in the industry. We will go into a little bit more detail regarding, mechanisms of action and why strontium is a very important part of the bone builder pack. But, essentially the purpose and who. So people looking to accelerate bone density increases, companion product to AlgaeCal Plus. Strontium is not a replacement for AlgaeCal Plus. It should always be taken as part of the bone builder program or bone builder pack, as Moni already mentioned. So when we go over some of the features of this product, don't think of this product replacing AlgaeCal Plus. You really need to take both products, and I will highlight that in all 3 of the studies. Specifically, what the product is able to do, or strontium citrate, is important for increasing calcium absorption. It boosts healthy bone formation and reduces fracture risk independent of bone density, which is really important. Triple results regulate bone breakdown, and there's no side effects. So unlike the AlgaeCal Plus, strontium does not have to be taken with meals. In fact, in Lara's book, Healthy Bones, Healthy You, Lara does talk at length about the benefits of strontium, and she recommends you take strontium 2 capsules once daily, 1 hour before bedtime. You could also take 1 capsule 1 hour before bedtime, and then the second capsule, you would probably recommend it around mid-afternoon, let's say around 3 o'clock, give or take. If, let's say, an individual doesn't want to take 2 capsules 1 hour before bedtime, because that might be too many capsules. So you couldn't break up the dosage. The one thing you want to be aware of is you do want to take this product away from things like antacids, antibiotics, thyroid medication, and then as well, you do want to take it away from calcium. So if you were to take this product at the same time as AlgaeCal Plus, let your members know it's really important that they need to separate the dosage by a couple of hours, because strontium and calcium, they compete for the same receptor sites. So that would mean that you probably would not get much of the benefits of strontium, because calcium will always win over strontium when it comes to receptor binding. Okay, so really important note.
Hey, Phil, so as an example, if somebody took the AlgaeCal Plus and then they would wait 2 hours and then take the strontium boost, is that correct?
So let's say you would take your AlgaeCal Plus 2 with breakfast and 2 with dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You would take 2 capsules of strontium 1 hour before bedtime. What you don't want to do is wake up in the morning and say, hey, you know what? I don't like taking my supplements. I'm probably going to forget. So let me take my strontium at the same time as AlgaeCal Plus. You don't want to do that. And the reason is because you're not going to get the full benefits of the strontium, because calcium will bind to the receptors that strontium also binds to, because they share the same receptor sites. So you'll never really get the benefit of the strontium by doing that. There needs to be a separation of several hours. 2 to 3 hours.
So to be clear, 2 AlgaeCal Plus in the morning, 2 AlgaeCal Plus in the evening, and then an hour before bedtime,
2 capsules of strontium.
Okay, and that 2 capsules of strontium is how far away from the AlgaeCal Plus?
I would say 2 to 3 hours is fine. So let's say you have supper at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And you have 2 capsules of AlgaeCal Plus, and then depending on what time you go to bed, most people will likely go to bed I don't know, 10 o'clock, let's say. Mm-hmm. So at 9 o'clock, 1 hour before bedtime, you could take your strontium.
Perfect. Thank you.
Pleasure. And then one just last comment I wanted to make. There is one cautionary note with taking strontium, and this is just something that people who have chronic kidney disease, they should be aware that if, let's say, their kidney function, there's a measurement in blood work, it's called your glomerular filtration rate, or EGFR. If it starts dropping below 60, you want to avoid strontium. And the reason is because strontium's larger molecular structure can make it a little bit more stressful on the kidneys, to eliminate it, right? So it can accumulate in kidney tissue, which is obviously something you don't want. So provided that the patient has healthy kidney function, which they likely will know because, their doctors will tell them, because of their blood work, that really is the only cautionary note. Aside from that, it's actually a very safe supplement, and it has over 100 years of safety, and is specifically as it relates to increasing bone mineral density, reducing fracture risk. It's a really nice companion product. For anyone who wants to know more about the science, because you might be interested in the science, if you do have a copy of Lara's book, Healthy Bones, Healthy You, the section on strontium is page 272, just as an FYI. And there are, I think, approximately 10 or 11 pages in total where Lara goes into a lot more detail regarding mechanisms of action. We won't go into the mechanisms of action today, but I mean, it is nevertheless something that could be of interest for anyone who wants to know more about that.
All right.
Next slide. So again, the bone builder pack is really what we use in all 3 of our studies. So our 6-month study, our 12-month study, and our 7-year study. And we offer a guarantee on the program because the 7-year study, as I will review in a couple of slides, was so incredibly exciting, the results, that the owner of the company decided to add a guarantee to the program, and I'll go over that as well. But there's no side effects. Again, it's been clinically supported in 3 published studies, and it's sustainably sourced, right? So which makes this a very unique plant, because we never have to worry about potential shortages at some point. So next slide. All righty. So Monty, do you want to do this?
Sure. Actually, I'm thinking if we go back here, Phil, we don't have a dedicated guarantee slide. Do you want to speak to that now a little bit, and then we'll go into the fish oil?
Sure.
That'd be great.
For sure. So, I present, the HCP, which is the healthcare practitioner slide version of what we're going over today, to doctors like essentially every single day. And I have to say that when we go over the studies, one of the things that the attention grabbers that really gets everyone's attention is the fact that we have a guarantee. In our industry, it's extremely rare or almost never seen for a nutritional company to offer a guarantee. And the reason being that, if your product is not working, in the way that you're claiming it does, you're not gonna be open. You're not gonna keep your doors open, right? And AlgaeCal has been around for 20 years, so that should tell you something. We have, as Monty mentioned, close to 100,000 people on our program right now that are experiencing incredible results. So the way the guarantee works is very simple. If you have someone who's really serious and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to take care of this osteopenia or osteoporosis, they should definitely consider getting a bone or a DEXA scan as their baseline test. And then 12 months into the future, it should be at least 12 months, but it could be 16 months, 18 months, 24 months, whenever they feel necessary to get their follow-up, they would get a second test done. So if they are unable to demonstrate increases in at least one of the 3 numbers that you typically find on a DEXA result, we will, the patient basically will be eligible for a full refund. So, for what it's worth, with AlgaeCal 2 years, I never had like one single customer call me to tell me that they have not increased their bone mineral density. Now, can you have individuals that are non-fully compliant or that don't take the product? Absolutely. But I think for the most part, if you have an individual who has bone loss, most people are really serious and they want to, address that and stop the bone loss and reverse it to a positive trend as quickly as they possibly can. So is there anything you wanted to add, Monty, on your end?
Yeah, I'll just mention too, we cover any basically scan to scan with that guarantee. I know in Medicare in the States, typically your insurance will only cover every 2 years. And so we have customers who want to pay out of pocket and get that scan at 12 months just to see if it's working. But of course, depending on your situation, you may have to wait for a scan. So it doesn't matter if it's, like Phil said, 12 months or 2 years or 3 years. It's just scan to scan, taking the products where you have a baseline and the after result. And so, if you can't get a scan for 2 or 3 years and you don't see an increase in the hip or spine, we'll refund that money back. And so in terms of like time in, there's no length. We guarantee just from scan to scan. And one thing I'll mention too, Deepak and I were talking about it before the call, but up until about 1.5 years ago, we did actually have a couple exceptions to our guarantee, but we've waived that since then because we just didn't want to have any barrier for people to be included in that guarantee. And so, as you may or may not know, but once you reach peak bone mass, you lose about 1% of your total bone mineral density every year. Peak bone mass can be anywhere from 35 to 40 years old. When you're in menopause, we had that exception. If you were going through menopause, you didn't qualify for the guarantee because studies have shown you can lose anywhere between 2 to 5% of your total bone mineral density each and every year, which is, can be significant. Or if you're on a certain prescription medication where they say one of the side effects is bone loss, we used to have those as exceptions. And so we've actually waived that as about 1.5 years ago because we had people just saying, you know what, I'm going to take it anyways, even though I don't qualify. And they were seeing like increases and big increases. And so we removed that barrier so that everyone's included, no matter if you're taking a prescription medication or if you're going through the menopausal transition. And so again, being with AlgaeCal for 9 years, Phil with 2, we've rarely ever seen that, but that change was kind of real deal in terms of integrity and core values at AlgaeCal, is that no matter what, even though we know and it's acknowledged with those prescription meds and through the menopausal transition that you can have significant decreases in bone loss, we still want you to qualify and get the nutritional component to your bone building that you need. And so just wanted to mention that as well. That's been pretty cool, and I was very, very happy when that change was made. So
let me jump in here real quick. So you guys and everyone here that's been a member for a long time know that, you know, me, Heather, and John and team, you guys have asked us to bring in supplements for a really long time. And we have constantly said, man, we just haven't really found the right one. We're not behind the right one. And until I had this conversation with Phil, you know, before about, you know, 6-8 months ago, it really crystallized into, okay, I think we found the right partner. Because why? Because they're putting their money where their mouth is, right? They have a guarantee. What they're saying is that if they use the product the way that it's intended, you're going to see an increase. And that's the level of integrity that we were looking for in a company that was offering this type of supplement. So that's why this is so critically important for our entire community, because they stand behind their product, and so do we. Back to you, Mani.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, we're so excited about this partnership. We know it's still fairly new, but we're in it for the long haul. We see the synergy, and I mentioned it at the beginning, but this AlgaeCal has exclusively sold online. So you've only been able to find us on our website or through marketplace channels like Amazon. And when we started talking to OsteoStrong, we're like, wow, this is a fit. This makes sense. Like, we want to do this long term and reach more people. And so we feel likewise. So thanks, Deepak. All right, we're going to go over one more product, our Triple Power Omega-3 Fish Oil. This is a product that we recently added within the last few years. Again, I mentioned that inflammation is one of the root causes of bone loss. But as you may already know, fish oil in general is probably one of the most studied nutritional supplements. And I think Phil likes to say pretty much every doctor is okay and happy to say, like, you should be taking a fish oil because of the studies on heart health, eye health, joint health. The list kind of goes on and on and on. And so in terms of what makes AlgaeCal's fish oil special or kind of stand out is, again, we formulate it with bone health in mind, but it's emulsified. And so it is in a liquid emulsification. And so you're getting actually 3 times better absorbed than maybe through a capsule, through a fish oil capsule. In addition, you'll see that there's no colorings, but it is a bright orange color there. And that's from curcumin, from turmeric, and astaxanthin. So we've added, that's what makes it triple, is the omega-3 fish oils, and then curcumin and astaxanthin, which are also known as potent antioxidants. Curcumin, you probably seen it. It's similar to like the ginger root in size, but definitely the deep red color. And then astaxanthin is actually what makes, like salmon and shrimp super red or pink. And so fish oil can regulate that bone breakdown. Again, because it's not in a capsule, you're getting it through a liquid. It's much better absorbed, actually 3 times better absorbed than a capsule. And it's naturally sweetened with xylitol. So there's no yucky sweeteners or anything in there. And I do like to mention it's mango flavored, and it does taste really good. I have 2 toddlers, so I take a full dose, which is a tablespoon a day. I give them a teaspoon a day. I have a 1.5 and a 3-year-old, and I say kids they just don't lie at that age, and so they happily take it and usually ask for more. But that's just speaks to how tasty it actually is. But you put it in your fridge, shake it before you have it, and it really is delicious. And I know Phil loves it. He's constantly taking that daily as well. So
yeah, thanks, Mani. If I could just add just a couple of really important bullet points. When Mani says it's 3 times better absorbed, let's put that into perspective. That represents a 300% improvement in your absorption. So if you were to consume a liquid EPA DHA fish oil from, let's call competitor, and that product was not emulsified, you would have to take 3 tablespoons to equal 1 tablespoon of the AlgaeCal triple power fish oil. So that's the first important takeaway. The other important takeaway is that I agree 100% with Monty. What Monty just said is that, think of your EPA DHA, your fish oil, as your engine oil, right? Everybody needs it every single day for tons of, metabolic processes that are happening every single second in our body. So it's really important that you think about maybe getting more of your anti-inflammatory oil, because that is essentially what EPA DHA is. It is an oil that provides your body with more of an ability to combat chronic inflammation. And what is bone loss? Bone loss is a form of chronic inflammation, right? So when you lose your bone mineral density and your osteoclasts are destroying your bone, you are producing inflammation. As you produce inflammation, you also produce other substances, which we call reactive oxygen species, ROS. And those reactive oxygen species, they actually damage your bone. So one of the clinical pearls that you may want to consider adding, to your AlgaeCal Plus and Strontium Bone Builder Pack is the addition of triple power fish oil, because you actually will quench those reactive oxygen species that are damaging your bone. It's just a really smart thing to do, to take something like fish oil every single day for your brain, for your heart, for your eyes, for your connective tissue, for your bones, right? And then the curcumin, which is what gives the product that orangey color, curcumin is one of the best natural anti-inflammatories on the market. So for your bones, for your joints, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, it just makes sense to think about consuming a product like this. When I first started taking triple power fish oil, we actually have what's called the omega Quan test. You can actually test your levels, send them to a lab, and they'll tell you basically where you're at. And I've been taking fish oil prior to AlgaeCal for many, many years. I was taking 1 to 2 capsules. It was not an emulsified fish oil. It did not contain curcumin or astaxanthin. And I was actually a little bit on the low side. So I was kind of a little surprised, because I thought, like, holy moly, I've been taking this stuff like for years, and I was still a little bit low, right? So think about that. Had I not been taking any fish oil, I probably wouldn't even been like on the chart at all, right? And then when I started taking the triple power fish oil and I did my retest, I went well past the healthy range. And again, I think a lot of that goes back to the fact that it's emulsified and some of the other benefits that we add, the curcumin and astaxanthin. So there are a lot of fish oil products in the market. To our knowledge, I think we're likely one of the only companies right now that actually has both curcumin and astaxanthin. So those are huge takeaways to share, with your customers as well.
Thanks, Phil. That's a great point. We're just heading into the last part of the slide deck here. Phil's going to go over our studies. We have 3. We'll try and keep it top line. And then if you want more info, we can send it out and get those questions asked.
So for the studies, again, as Moni mentioned, we have a 6-month study, 12-month study, and a 7-year study. So in this first study, which was published in Nutrition Journal, next slide, please, there were over 200 women and men. And you'll notice right off the bat that on the slide is kind of divided into 2 parts. So the group to your left, as it says at the bottom, AlgaeCal 1, represents the group who took our original formula known as AlgaeCal Basic and Strontium Boost. So the first thing I want to bring to your attention is you'll notice that there's this bar graph that's trending downward on both sides of the screen, right, on the left side and on the right side. So this minus 0.67 and this minus 0.61 is essentially demonstrating that should an individual decide to do nothing, that means no supplementation, they can expect about a minus 0.7% decrease in their bone mineral density. And Moni mentioned earlier on in the slide, in the presentation, that as of age 40, give or take, you lose 1% of your bone mineral density per year. So think about this for a second. By the time the average individual, and this is both in men and women, they reach 60 years old, they will have lost at least 20% of their bone mineral density, which is significant. Now, for menopausal women, that actually becomes accelerated because they lose their bone mineral density even faster, an additional 2 to 4 percentage point loss per year. So for women, by the time they hit 60, 65, they can easily lose upward of 20%, 25, 30, depending on the individual. So the first bar graph here where it says 0.48%, this was in a non-fully compliant group. So these are individuals that sometimes they forgot to take their supplements. After 6 months, they still were able to stop their bone loss and reverse it to a positive trend, okay? Now, when we go to the second bar graph, to 2.27%, these were the individuals who were, again, were taking AlgaeCal Basic with strontium, but that were fully compliant. So just going from being non-fully compliant to fully compliant, you can expect, you know, a more than doubling in the increases of your bone mineral density. So pretty cool, right? Now the 2.94% is essentially demonstrating increases over this number here, minus 0.67. So if you take this number and you add it to this, it'll give you 2.94. That's where that number comes from. Let's now go to the right part of the screen. So these individuals, AlgaeCal 2, were taking AlgaeCal Plus, with strontium. So the main differences between AlgaeCal Basic, the original formula, and AlgaeCal Plus, they both have the same raw materials, but AlgaeCal Plus is a little bit more comprehensive as a product. That is a product that you in the OsteoStrong centers will carry. It also features vitamin K2 in the form of MK7. It has boron, it has vitamin C, and then it has triple the amount of magnesium to provide it more of a 2-to-1 ratio calcium to magnesium. So again, after 6 months, you'll see that these individuals who were non-fully compliant, they not only stopped their bone loss and they reversed it to a positive trend. You'll notice that I'm really emphasizing that they stopped the bone loss and reversed it to a positive trend. There is currently no other program in the market that has demonstrated these type of results. The 3.72% increase were with individuals who were fully compliant. So they followed the protocol as, you know, per instructions. And you can see the number jumped from 2.18 to 3.72, okay? And then the 4.33% is essentially showing increases over expected. So there's two important takeaways from this study, and then we'll move on to the second study. The first important takeaway is that when you go from being non-fully compliant to being fully compliant, no surprise, you should expect more significant increases in your bone mineral density. The second important takeaway is that individuals who took AlgaeCal Plus, which is the more comprehensive formula, versus AlgaeCal Basic, had significantly, you know, better increases. I mean, let's look at the numbers here: 2.27 to 3.72%. That's like a 40% increase, right? That's amazing. Okay, next slide. So this one here now was 12 months. Why did we come up with a 12-month study? Well, the 6-month study, as you could imagine, was interesting to a lot of individuals that, you know, heard about our study. But the question we kept on getting was, okay, that's pretty cool. You guys, you know, demonstrated increases in bone mineral density after 6 months. But how would you know, like, if these results essentially would be sustained over a longer period of time? So hence, you know, the 12-month study. Now, what's interesting about this particular study is that our subject group was more targeted towards postmenopausal women, okay? And this was published in the International Journal of Medical Science. So next slide, please. So the first group was taking AlgaeCal Basic alone. And after 12 months, they stopped their bone loss and they increased it by 1.3%. In the second group, we now added strontium to the equation. And these individuals basically increased their bone mineral density after 12 months by 2%. So there's a difference here, right? Of, you know, 1.3 to 2. So there's something that's happening with the strontium that is allowing for better increases in bone mineral density. And then the third group was basically consuming AlgaeCal Plus with strontium. And once again, we see a second study demonstrating that when we go from AlgaeCal Basic to AlgaeCal Plus, the results are significantly more impressive, right? So they're much higher. There's essentially a doubling in the increases in bone mineral density. So now we have two studies. And keep in mind, as I previously mentioned, and Monty mentioned this as well earlier on, this was with postmenopausal women. And when you hit menopause, you start to lose your bone mineral density a lot faster. Now, we won't go into this in great detail, but the other thing that a lot of people are not aware, that when you go into menopause, you actually produce 3 inflammatory substances. And those inflammatory substances will actually degrade your bone even faster. So the fact that we were able to demonstrate a 4.1% increase percentage increase after 12 months was actually impressive. Okay, now let's go look at the third study. So this one here was published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition with 172 participants. Now, 7-year study for a company like, AlgaeCal, because, we're not a big pharmaceutical company that has billions to invest in studies, is a big deal, right? So this was, again, published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition, and it actually won an award. It's called the Ragus Award for overall study design and outcome. So what they basically found in this study is that individuals who participated over the 7 years had a 7.3% increase in their bone mineral density. So if you were to annualize that result, you're talking about a 1.04% increase per year over the 7 years. Remember early on, we said that as of age 40, you lose 1% of your bone mineral density per year, right? That's just through natural aging. So if we compare the increases of the 7-year study versus, expected loss over time, you're talking about a 14% swing in bone mineral density. Okay, next slide, please.
All right, then we got questions, which I know Heather and Deepak are going to gather them up, but I'll just leave our support number and line up here as well while you, Heather, handle the rest. So thank you.
So before we go into that, the studies are great, right? But what I want to show you, I'm going to share my screen real quick, and then you guys can share it right back. But let me share this with you. This 45-second clip.
Hi, my name is Kathleen, and I'm here today to share the great story with you. About 2.5 years ago, well, actually 3 years ago, I discovered OsteoStrong. I take AlgaeCal because I had osteoporosis in all 3 areas, my spine, hip, and femur. And I discovered OsteoStrong in one of their posts. So I investigated a little bit, and then about 2.5 years ago, I started coming here. Well, I have great news today. I had my latest DEXA scan 2 weeks ago, and in my hip and my spine, I'm completely normal, and in my femur, I now have osteopenia. So thanks to AlgaeCal and OsteoStrong, I feel like a new person.
So I know we can get lost in the studies and in the data, but what I really wanted to play that for you for 2 reasons. One, the results are incredible. Like going from full-on osteoporosis to normal bone density is something physicians have never seen before in this amount of time, naturally, without medication. That's number one. That's a massive thing. The second thing is that Kathleen is just not some random person on the internet. She is here at our center, and you can go and talk to her. So it's not like this is, we pulled this from somewhere else, some other center. We really want to showcase our members seeing real results. And that was such a key piece. And Kathleen's video was, as we were kind of evaluating this partnership, it just sealed the deal. I was like, okay, if this can do this for Kathleen, and she was doing it religiously, right? She was doing it, the dosages properly every month. She was continuing to do the products. She was continuing to do her sessions. And guess what? She got amazing results. You follow the plan, you get amazing results. Over to you, Heather.
Get myself off mute here. All right, well, I want to say thanks to Monica and Phil for joining us today and giving us a wonderful presentation on what makes AlgaeCal so great. And next, I want to jump into how this is going to fit in with OsteoStrong and what we're planning to do. So let me just share my screen. And so just like Deepak, Monica and AlgaeCal said, and Phil said from AlgaeCal, I am super excited about this partnership. When I first found out about it, my brain was going like, we have to do this, we have to do this. And I was convinced well before Deepak. He asked me if we should do it. In 3 seconds, I was like, yes, 100%. And you know that my background as a dietitian, if for many of you that have approached me before asking which supplements should I be taking and navigating the field of supplements. When I first started OsteoStrong 4 years ago, started working here, AlgaeCal was the supplement that I was actually recommending to many of our members to begin taking. So this partnership is beyond exciting. And also, before we dive into this, is you know that we have never been able to offer a guarantee with just OsteoStrong. We know that many of our members are seeing amazing results, but not everybody has. And that's because we know there are many factors that go into the osteoporosis. Everybody's taking different supplements, they have different nutrition plans, they're doing different types of activities. And all of those factors, OsteoStrong has never been able to say, yes, 100%, we can get you stronger bones. So now this partnership with OsteoStrong, we can actually say that we can offer that same guarantee now. So diving into what the, we're gonna call it the Build Your Better Bones Guarantee Program. And 3 simple steps, that's really all that's to this. Number 1, we need you to have a DEXA scan. This is going to have to be pretty recent. It has to be within 30 days, but you'll get a bone density scan. Step 2, you'll be continuing participating in your OsteoStrong sessions. And then you'll start taking the AlgaeCal Bone Builder Pack as directed. And then step 3 is we are going to have you get a follow-up bone scan. Now with this guarantee, we, just as AlgaeCal said, if your bone density scan does not show an increase in your hip or spine, all of that money invested in your AlgaeCal supplements is going to be 100% refunded. Number 2, even from our perspective, we don't want to say, oh man, it really stinks, let's see, sorry that it didn't work. We actually genuinely care about you guys seeing results too. And so what we're going to do from an OsteoStrong perspective is we want to credit 2 months towards your OsteoStrong membership back to you. The third big piece of what we want to do here is we want to pay for a bone health test through this group called Opal Health. And Opal Health is a group of functional medicine doctors that are experts in the bone health industry. And their initial test is to determine what is going on inside of your body that is preventing you from being able to absorb nutrients and build bone. So if the AlgaeCal is not working in the OsteoStrong, there must be another reason why you're not seeing those results. So we're going to get you started on the path on really finding out what's going on inside your body that is preventing you from being able to absorb these nutrients to see these results. So this is part of the guarantee when you participate in our program. Again, we're here to make sure that you guys succeed. That's from the bottom of our hearts. What we show up to work to do every day for you guys is put you in the best possible position to see these results. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So next here, the requirements to participate. As I mentioned before, we are going to be requiring a bone density scan. If you've had one recently within 30 days, we will take that bone scan. And if it's been outside of the 30-day mark, we will have a new bone scan required. Next, from what you guys know, it takes a while to see the bone results from an OsteoStrong perspective. So we want you to complete at least 50 OsteoStrong sessions between your 2 scans. And those sessions must occur within a 16-month period, because we know we're not all perfect. We all miss a session here and there. We take vacations. That is okay. That's not going to set you back for too much, but that's where that 16 months comes from. Next, you will be able to purchase the AlgaeCal Bone Builder Pack from our center here, and you'll be taking this at full dose as directed for the entire duration between those 2 scans that you get. So you're more than welcome to get a bone scan, 6 months, kind of see your progress. Then we're going to test it again after you complete 50 sessions, and then even longer if you wish to wait even more. The last requirement is going to be that when you go to get your follow-up DEXA scan, it's at the same imaging center. We've seen many people come in that have gone to 2 completely different centers and use different machines, and that can impact the integrity of the results. So we want you guys to go back to the same center that you had the original scan done at. So now I understand that you're thinking like, I'm doing my OsteoStrong and I'm going to have to start paying for all these additional things. So I want to break down the costs. So from what we know, without insurance coverage, an average bone scan costs around $250. So if we do a beginning and end, that's about $500. And then AlgaeCal, without the OsteoStrong membership discount, costs about $109 a month. We wanted to find a way to make this more affordable for you guys. And this is what's really great about the partnership with AlgaeCal. So for our OsteoStrong members, what we have done is we have actually found an imaging center that we partnered with in the Austin area, and we'll provide more information on them, but they are called Touchstone Imaging. They do accept insurance, so if you're within your insurance coverage covering a bone scan, you can head to Touchstone Imaging and use your insurance coverage. But their out-of-pocket cost is going to only be $145. So we're able to save you about $100 per scan by going to Touchstone Imaging. They have multiple locations located around the Austin area, all the way from North Austin to South Austin. So you can just pick a location that is closest to you, so you don't have to drive to just a single location. The third great thing is with Touchstone Imaging, as we know, that we always say, if possible, can you have the same technician doing your scan for you? And with Touchstone Imaging, we actually have that person. So we have a single technician that travels between all the locations in Austin. So you can not only just pick a location that's closest to you, but you'll have the same technician for both of your scans, which is really great. And so that's covering the bone scans. Now, with the AlgaeCal, we're going to have this offer for our members where you have a 3-month subscribe and save, and it averages out to about $84 a month. So it's just about a 25% discount off of the $109 that you would pay if you were to order it offline. So that is going to be billed quarterly to you guys. So you'll sign up for this package, you'll get a bone scan, you'll get your 3-month supply of the AlgaeCal Bone Builder Pack, and then we'll follow up with another bone scan after that. Now, we said for those of you that are attending this webinar, we also wanted to say that we have some bonus items that we're going to offer in your Get Started Welcome Kit. So not only are you going to have some amazing savings off of your AlgaeCal Bone Builder Pack to get started, but we're going to throw in some bonuses. That first bonus that we're going to throw in for you guys is that triple power omega-3. As Phil and Monica have mentioned, I take this as well personally, and inflammation, omega-3 plays such a big role in our bone. We always talk about the big vitamins and the minerals, and we kind of gloss over how important omega-3 plays in the bone metabolic process. So we do have a limited quality here. So for our first 12 members that want to get started on our OsteoStrong Build Better Bones program, you will get this fish oil supplement completely free. We're going to throw that into your package for you. The second bonus that we are going to be providing for you is the Healthy Bones, Healthy You book. I have been slowly perusing through this book, learning all about it, and really understanding the science and the physiology of how all of these nutrients interact with the bone. There is some fantastic information in here. So again, for our first 12 members that decide to join our program, you will also get a copy of this Healthy Bones, Healthy You book completely free. Retail price, if you were to find it on Amazon or such, it's a value of $25. So now that you guys may say, all right, I want to do this, how to get started. So what we're doing, first 12 people that either send us a text message or email us, or even if you want to respond in this chat and this Zoom, first 12 people to get started are going to get an amazing special here with us. All right, who's ready to get started?
I think everybody's ready to get started. We've got a lot of questions in the chat. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take those questions and we're going to reply to them individually through email. So we'll contact you and make sure we have a list of all the questions. We've got about 15 or 16 of them that we don't have time to do it right now, but we will make sure to reach out and get those questions answered to you. So really, it's just this partnership is so incredibly important for our mission, and it was just kismet that we just found another company that had the same mission, which is transforming people's lives through bone health. That's what they specialize in. That's what we specialize in. That is our niche. That's what we're the best in the world at this. So this is why this is such an incredible partnership together. One thing I did want to call out is that go ahead and you can contact us, the normal way. You just call us, or send us a text for AlgaeCal special, or send us this email. But they have a dedicated phone number for OsteoStrong members. So if you have more than just the questions that you have put into the chat, they will spend time. This is one of the other things I love about this company, is that their support team will spend time with you and walk you through all of your questions. Because it's not just, oh, hey, I'm on X medication, can I take this at this time? There's going to be follow-up questions. And I've heard of conversations with their team that have lasted, 30, 45 minutes. So it's not like they're trying to rush you off the phone. They really want to get you to understand how this works with your lifestyle, with your medication. That's why, so that it's just so awesome that this is just resourced where you can just call them and have that level of information with this type of expert. You just don't get that. So that was just really, really special. So closing up, I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us. And Heather, thank you for driving this. Money and Phil, thank you for supporting all of this. Is there anything else that you think you want to add before we close this up?
I think that's it. Yeah, like you said, we'll get your questions answered, and we also have that line. So if you have any that come up after the fact, just call us or email us. I posted it in the chat, and we're more than happy to get all those answered for you before you make a decision.
Awesome. Heather, any closing remarks?
No, just thanks everybody for tuning in. We're extremely excited. I know many of you have been asking about when we're finally going to start selling. We're selling them now. So we just had to wait for this webinar. So I know we have a waiting list of people ready to purchase. So again, make sure you reach out to us.
Yeah, and I know we do have a limited stock, and so we're gonna have to reorder a bunch of stuff. So if you want to get in soon, and then otherwise you're gonna have to wait for the next round of shipment to come in. So
which will probably be in May. So
yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys. If you guys have any other questions outside of the ones that we have seen in the chat, just go ahead and text us or email us, and then we'll send you the number for our OsteoStrong members direct. And the AlgaeCal team can help answer all of your questions. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.